Welcome to the Strategic Business Leader pre-scene discussion for the 2025 June examination. So we'll have a two-phase process to evaluate the pre-scene. The first phase is where I will be having my first read through with you. From scratch, we will be going through the pre-scene word by word, and we will be pointing out the important facts that we identify. So it's a matter of screening and filtering out the facts, the data that is presented in the pre-scene. And afterwards the next session will be phase number 2, where we will be extracting and further evaluating the insights that we had extracted in phase number 1. All right. So let's go through the pre-scene for ACCA SBL. Right. So let's start with the introduction. Dearn Shoes Ltd. We'll be referring the company to as Dearn. It's a company which manufactures and sells shoes. So our industry is related to the shoe industry, the footwear shoe industry. Right. So let me take a note of this. ACCA SBL 2025 June examination pre-scene discussion. So here we identified that our company is Dearn Shoes Ltd. So we'll be referring to our company as Dearn. What do? We manufacture and sell shoes. It was founded nearly 100 years ago, so we have history of 100 years, and is currently the 4th largest shoe manufacturer and retailer. So at present we are the 4th largest shoe manufacturer and retailer in the country of Lucland, the developed, politically stable country where it is based. If you look at the country of Lucland, it has been concluded that it is a developed country and we have political stability. Now let's look at the shoe manufacturing and retailing industry in Lucland. Now they are providing us industry information. Right. OVIV, organizations in the industry manufacture adults and children's shoe in factories or similar workshops. So this industry manufactures both adults and children's shoes in factories or similar workshops and sell them to customers in Lucland via their own retail outlets or online stores. So distribution is made through their own retail stores, retail outlets or online stores. Export sales are made to customers in other countries via distributors. When it comes to exports, export via distributors. Shoes were traditionally made from leather, but a variety of cheaper man-made materials have been developed and are now also used extensively in shoe manufacturing. When it comes to product, materials earlier were of leather. Now we also have alternative cheaper man-made materials. These materials include synthetic leather, which is made from a fabric base covered in plastic. Example, synthetic leather, which is made of, which includes plastic. In Lucland, revenue from this industry in 2004 was $3,750 million. Industry revenue in 2024, it was $3,750 million. Annual average growth since 2020 has been 1.71%. And forecast average annual growth over the next 5 years is expected to be 1.06%. Right. The Lucland market for the manufacture and retail of shoes is dominated by 5 Lucland organizations. Look at the market in Lucland. It's dominated by 5 organizations, which is Flamingo, Rigo, Parish, Dearn, and Betterby. Together they have over 45% of the market. So total we have 45% market share. Over 200 small organizations hold the remainder. Remainder held by over 200 small organizations. The remaining 55%. Look at production in Lucland. In Lucland, shoes are manufactured in one of the two ways, either using mass production techniques or they are handcrafted. Two methods: mass production, handcrafted. Mass production, mass-produced shoes involve the use of machines at almost all stages of the production process. Although many of these machines need human supervision or human operation, there are 4 main stages in the production of shoes, whether they are produced using mass production techniques or handcrafting. Mass production is machine intensive. So the shoe manufacturing process involves 4 stages. First one is cutting. Cutting parts of the top section of the shoe which covers the foot are cut from the material. Second, stitching. Parts of the upper are sewn together. Next, lasting. The finished uppers are molded on a last, which is a mold in the shape of a shoe being manufactured, and soles. The bottom part of the shoe added. Finally, finishing. The shoe is quality checked and packed. Includes quality check. Lucland based manufacturers traditionally produced all their output in Lucland. With the advent of mass production techniques and the development of man-made materials over the last 20 years, a number of other countries have expanded their shoe manufacturing industries. To take advantage of the low production costs which these countries offer, some Lucland-based manufacturers of mass-produced shoes have transferred some or all of their production to third-party manufacturers in these countries. Okay. Due to alternate materials with cheaper cost, emerging. It's the last 20 years. Many other countries expanded shoe production. Some Lucland manufacturers transferred some or even all manufacturing to these countries. Right, so you have noted down this as well. Next is handcrafting. Handcrafting involves the same 4 stages as mass production, but the shoes are produced using skilled labor to carry out by hand some or all of the tasks performed by machines within a mass production environment. For example, the sewing together of the parts of the upper. Handicrafted shoes are usually made from leather and are admired for their very high quality and craftsmanship. They are more expensive to produce than mass-produced shoes because of both the high quality of the leather and the high proportion of skilled labor used in manufacture. They are therefore sold at a higher price than mass-produced shoes. Handcrafted shoes uses leather material, more expensive, for their high quality and craftsmanship. They are more expensive to produce than mass-produced shoes because of both the high quality and the high proportion of skilled labor used to manufacture. They are therefore sold at a higher price than mass-produced shoes. The production of handcrafted shoes has not been transferred to third-party manufacturers in other countries, and they continue to manufacture in Lucland. Okay. So these are not outsourced to other countries. Types of shoes. Now here, for those who are not aware of the specifics of the shoe industry, now examiner ensures that everyone, whether they know or not about the industry, will have the necessary knowledge for examination. Now they're giving us information of the type of shoes. There are currently 4 types of shoes manufactured and sold in Lucland. Table number 1. Types of shoes manufactured and sold in Lucland. So we have formal, semi-formal, casual, children. Formal handcrafted smart shoes for adults made of leather. Semi-formal, mass-produced, relatively formal shoes for adults made of a mixture of leather and synthetic materials. Casual, mass-produced informal shoes for adults. They are formal shoes, yeah, semi-formal. Casual, mass-produced informal shoes. Made of synthetic materials. Children, mass-produced shoes made of either leather or synthetic materials. Next is market structure. Information about both the 5 large organizations and the small organizations in the industry is set out in table number 2. Alright, let's continue with the next section. When we look at the market structure, information about both the 5 large organizations and the small organizations in the industry is set out in table number 2 below. Table number 2, Lucland shoe manufacturers. We have the information of the 5 companies along with the remaining small organizations in general. They have given the organization, the production method that they have been using, whether it's mass production or handcrafted, types of shoe manufactured. We discussed that there are 4 types of shoes. Target market, the consumers, the prices charged, as well as their market share. So we can see Rigo is engaged in mass production. Flamingo mass production. Dearn, which is our company, does both handcrafting and mass production. Parish is handcrafting. Better Be mass production. Small organizations who account for 55% of the market share has a mixture of both. Types of shoes manufactured. Rigo mass production, good quality casual shoes. Target market is 18 to 30 years old consumers. High price point with 11% market share. Flamingo mass production, here they are going for a low quality casual shoes and children's shoes. Both adults and children, the price point is low, so they are going for an affordable basis with a 10.8% market share. When it comes to Dearn, good quality, all 4 types of shoes, and we've used both handcrafting and mass production. Adults and children, price point is medium on average with a 9.4% market share. Parish, handcrafting, good quality formal shoes, adults, high prices, 8.9% market share. Better Be does mass production, good quality semi-formal shoes and children's shoes. Target market includes both adults and children. Price point is medium with a 5% market share. And the rest of the market share belongs to over 200 small organizations, which obviously different organizations have different focuses. So all shoe types adults and children are the target market with various price points with a 55% market share. So when it comes to market structure, information on the 5 largest shoe manufacturers and the remaining small manufacturers in general are provided. So what we can do is we can attach an image below. Right. So I'll keep some space so that I can attach the image of the table below. Next, sales channels. From the previous table, we can directly identify certain information, including who are our direct competitors based on the manufacturing method, based on the target market, and based on the price points. And also we can understand the difference in market shares as well. So for example, Dearn provides all 4 types of shoes, targeting adults and children as well. When it comes to children, Rico does not provide shoes for children. Flamingo provides shoes for children. Better provides shoes for children, and other small organizations, yes. But the price point is quite medium. So if you look at medium price points, Better could be closer competitors because we have similar target markets, similar price points, and they also do mass production. We, on top of mass production, provide handicraft. But handicraft, we have competitors which are Parish, whose price point is pretty high. So that's the data given. So we cannot further analyze unless more information is given about competitors. So let's look at sales channels. 85% of the revenues earned by Lucland shoe manufacturers comes from sales made in Lucland. 85% revenue from local sales, where they sell direct to customers through their own branded retail outlets and their own online stores. Right. So we do direct selling from own outlet and own online stores. Revenue from selling through retail outlets was 2,260 million, approximately 60% of total industry revenue in 2004. So of them, 60% revenue comes from indirect selling through retail stores. So out of total shoe manufacturers revenue in the country of Lucland, 85% comes from local sales. From that 85%, a good proportion comes from selling direct. From that 85%, 60% comes from indirect selling, so the remaining 25% should be from direct selling. This is revenue in 2004. So we'll have to so theoretically should be 25%. %, worth $2,260 million. Revenue from online sales as a proportion of total sales revenue has been increasing over the last 10 years. Revenue from online sales has been as a proportion of total sales is increasing over last 10 years. And currently stands at approximately 25%. Which is $926 million. Organizations with an online offering do not make online sales outside Lucland, delivered to Lucland addresses only. So organizations offering or selling online make these sales only within Lucland. That means they don't export using online sales. That's done through other media. Historically, the Lucland industry has had an excellent reputation worldwide for the quality of its products. And so for many years, a proportion of Lucland manufacturers' shoes have been exported. In recent years, manufacturers of handcrafted shoes in particular have seen increasing demand for their products from markets where there are rising levels of disposable income. So Lucland shoes had excellent reputation since the past. Known for quality of the shoes. In recent years, handcrafted shoes had increase in demand from markets with rising disposable income. 15% of the revenue earned by Lucland-based shoe manufacturers in 2004 was from export sales via distributors. So we had found this out earlier, that mentioned 85% comes from local sales, the remaining 15% is from international sales, exports. So 15% revenue in 2004, which is 564 million from exports via distributors. So here they have given a pie chart where they have split the revenue sales. Exports are 15%, the remaining 85% comes from local sales. From that local sales, 60% offline, 25% online. Challenges within the industry. Competition has historically been based on price, product range, quality, marketing, brand name, and distribution channels. Speed to market has become increasingly important over the last 5 years. Okay. This is due to the growing number of fashion and price conscious consumers in Lucland want to buy shoes more frequently to keep up with regularly changing fashion trends. Okay. Fashion and price conscious buyers to keep up with new fashion trends. Flamingo leads the way in this area. Here, our competitor Flamingo leads in this aspect. It can design, produce, and be ready to sell a new version of a type of shoe called a shoe style, in its retail outlets online within just a few weeks, allowing the company to respond quickly to changing fashion trends. Household disposable income is the key driver of demand, affecting the quantity, frequency, and quality of shoes purchased. Key driver of demand affects the quantity, frequency, and quality of shoes. There are signs that the Lucland economy is slowing down. Okay. Signs that the Lucland economy is slowing down. Growth was 5.1% 5 years ago, but had fallen to 1.6% 2 years ago. Growth in 2015 is expected to be 0.18%. Sorry, 0.8%. In line with this economic slowdown, the proportion of mid-price shoes sold has been falling. Proportion of low-price shoes has been increasing. So mid-price shoes is our offering. And some competitors priced low, so their sales would have been increased. forecast industry growth therefore derives predominantly from sales of handcrafted shoes to both export markets and Lucland. Forecast industry growth therefore derives predominantly from sales of handcraft shoes to both export markets and Lucland. So when it comes to industry growth, they expect that it will be more heavily reliant on the export market and Lucland from handcraft shoes. There is increasing awareness that employment protection legislation is poor in the countries in which third-party manufacturers used by some Lucland shoe companies are based. The manufacturing processes used in these countries are having a negative effect on the environment. As a result, a growing number of customers are unwilling to purchase shoes manufactured in this market. Many customers, due to this, has been unwilling to purchase. Despite the impact on their disposable income, they are choosing instead the more expensive shoes of manufacturers such as Parrish, which emphasize their Lucland heritage and the quality of their handcrafted shoes, and move to shoes of sellers like Parrish, though they were priced high. So Parrish's price was high, while other sellers of Lucknow who had outsourced were going for a mid to low prices. Now here we can see consumers are more aware, are more caring towards the conduct. So companies who had outsourced their production of shoes to countries which has poor employment protection, consumers of such companies are now unwilling to purchase and would rather spend more on more ethical companies. So here we can see consumers focus on ethical conduct. So employment protection is the concern here. And also we can see environmental protection. All right. These manufacturers are therefore flourishing in both Lucland and export markets. Such ethical manufacturers are flourishing both in Lucland and in overseas markets. These increase in the need for skilled workers in Lucland as well as attracting new entrants to industry. This has increased need for skilled workers in Lucland and attracted new entrants. To the industry. Right. Okay, next part is, okay, let's continue. From production through to disposal, shoe manufacturing and retailing has a big impact on the environment. So consumers focus on ethical behaviors because shoe manufacturing has a big impact on environment, both on the production stage and even the disposal process. The manufacturing process releases large amounts of carbon dioxide. The industry was responsible for 1.4% of global greenhouse gas emissions in 2004. So here, when it comes to manufacturing, 1.4% of global greenhouse gas emissions is in 2004. Every year, hundreds of thousands of pairs of shoes are disposed of in Lucland alone, most of which end up in landfill sites. Disposed shoes end up mostly in landfill sites. Most materials take years to biodegrade. A large proportion of the shoes purchased online are returned to the seller if they do not fit, if they are not as described as the website, if they are damaged, or if the customer orders more than one pair because they are unsure of the size they need. This adds to concerns around the environmental impact of the industry. So on top of this, large proportion of shoes bought online are returned due to various reasons. Size not fit, different from website description. So these two are very reasonable reasons for returning. Damaged, yes, that's also fine. However, the remaining reasons are a bit problematic. Customer orders more than one pair because they're unsure of the size they need. Okay, customers ordering multiple sizes. This adds to concerns around the environmental impact of the industry. The level of returns is driven by the fact that there are no universal foot sizing standards, and because many retailers do not charge customers for return postage or shipping if the shoes purchased are not wanted. This has been further empowered consumers to return because, number one, retailers do not charge customers for return postage or shipping, and there is no universal shoe size standards. shoes may not fit. Right, next, innovation and developments. Growing environmental awareness and interest in ethical and sustainably sourced products have led to the development of ethical shoes by a small Lucland based manufacturer called Kind Shoes. Growing environmental awareness and interest in ethical and sustainable sourcing. So this has resulted in the development of ethical shoes by a small Lucland manufacturer called Kind Shoes. This is where a small manufacturer had identified the market opportunity and market situation, and they have turned towards ethical manufacturing, and they themselves call them Kind Shoes, an organization which has successfully positioned its ethical and sustainable ethos as an alternative to that of the main manufacturers. So they are successfully positioned its ethical and sustainable ethos. Its shoes are made from more expensive, eco-friendly, sustainable sources. They use more expensive, eco-friendly, sustainable resources, which have been ethically sourced. So the materials are better, and also when it comes to the production, that is also more ethical, in contrast to unsustainable, cheaper, man-made materials used in much shoe manufacturing. Recycling initiatives are being trialed by a number of manufacturers in other countries, but there are yet to be significant developments in this area in Lucland. When it comes to recycling initiatives trialed in other countries, but no any significant developments in Lucland. There are increasing levels of technological change in the industry. For example, 3D printing can be used to produce prototypes, custom made shoes, or limited editions of styles. Right. Technological influence. For an instance, 3D printing for prototypes, custom made shoes, or even limited editions. Technology enabled intelligent shoes are a growing trend. They can measure athletic performance, measures athletic performance, track fitness, health metrics, and provides feedback to wearer of shoes using Bluetooth to transmit data to a smartphone. Another trend is customizable shoes, particularly athletic shoes, which customers can design and personalize. Customizable shoes, where customers can design and personalize. Virtual and augmented reality technology is being used on some online sites based in Lucland to enable customers to try on shoes to see what they look like on them via the smartphone cameras. Some online sites in Lucland uses virtual and augmented reality. That enables customers to try on shoes. Virtual. Industry body, industry standard and legislation. The Lucland Shoe Association aims to promote the industry job domestically and globally. Lucland Shoe Association, LSA, aims to promote industry domestically and globally. It provides its members with expertise, support, advice, guidance, and insight on a range of relevant topics through its staff, its publications, the network of members, and its links to Lucland government. Right. Accreditation by the Made in Lucland campaign set up by the LSA to promote Lucland manufactured shoes domestically and international indicates that manufacturers have complied with standards regarding the quality and safety of products, labor standards and sustainability guidelines. LSA set up Made in Lucland accreditation campaign. Which assures manufacturers complies with standards on quality, safety, labor standards, and sustainability guidelines. Accredited manufacturers can use the Made in Lucland mark. Shoe manufacturers, like all other businesses in Lucland, must comply with employment, health and safety, consumer protection, competition and data protection legislation. There is a strong system of copyright protection in Lucland. Manufacturers must carry out a number of legally required health and safety tests on all shoes to ensure the materials used to manufacture them are non-hazardous. Most staff employed in the industry are members of the National Shoe Union. Most staff in industry are members in National Shoe Union, which looks after the interest of its members at work by, for example, negotiating agreements with employers on pay and conditions. Next, now we have discussed many information on the industry. Next, let's look at the company, Dearn Shoes Ltd. So we got an introduction earlier at the start, and then we looked at the industry information. And now let's look at the company information. Alright, now let's look at the company information. Section 3, Dearn Shoes Ltd. Let's start with the background. Dearn Shoes Ltd, or Dearn, was founded nearly 100 years ago by Dermot Dearn. History is 100 years. Founder Dearn. Over the years, it has built a reputation for reasonably priced, well-made shoes for adults and children. Known for being reasonable priced, well-made shoes for adults and children. It's value for money. It was one of the first organizations to be awarded the MIL mark for its formal type of shoe. Okay. What is MIL? Made in Lucland. Okay, that's the accreditation given for following manufacturers' compliance with standards on quality, safety, labor standards, and sustainability guidelines. One of the first organizations to be awarded the MIL. Until 15 years ago, all of Dearn's manufacturing was based in a town called Lane in the southwest of Lucland. So in the past, they were manufacture was in a town called Lane in southwest of Lucland. This is until 15 years ago. At that point, the company decided to transfer most of its manufacturing to the country of Scotland. Afterwards, most of the manufacturing was transferred to country of Scotland, retaining one small factory in Lane. So they retained only one small factory in Lane. To take advantage of significantly lower production costs, X Company Limited, X Company, one of Scotland's largest shoe manufacturers, produces shoes for Dearn in that country. It was transferred to save costs. X Company a large shoe manufacturer in Scotland. Produces for Dearn. In that country. Dearn's head office, the small factory and its warehouse are still in Lane. Dearn's head office, small factory, and warehouse are still in Lane. It is one of the main employers in the arena. In the area. Shipping from Scotland to Dearn's warehouse in Lucland is carried out by DT Global Transport. shipping from Lucland to Dearn warehouse in Lucland is done by DT Transport. Most of Dearn's shoes are mass produced by X company. Only its formal shoes are handcrafted in most of its shoes are mass produced by X company. Only its formal shoes are handcrafted in its Lucland factory. Its shoes are sold throughout Lucland direct to customers via its 75 brand retail outlets and its websites. It does not export any of its production. Okay. Only its formal shoes and are handcrafted in the Lucland factory. Its shoes are sold throughout Lucland direct to customers. Throughout Lucland directly to customers. Via its 75 branded retail outlets and websites. Via its 75 branded outlets and its website. It does not export any of its production. No exports. Ownership. The ownership of Dearn's shares is split as shown below. You can see out of Dearn's share ownership, 70% founders family, 15% given to directors, 10% employment, and 5% other. Although the majority of shares in Dearn are owned by the founders family, none of the family are on the board or have any involvement in the management of the company. 70% owned by the founders family, but they do not get involved in management. Dearn is not listed in the Lucland Stock Exchange, but governance arrangements are consistent with good corporate governance. Dearland or Dearn, not listed in Lucland Stock Exchange, but follows good corporate governance. As an unlisted company, the directors made the decision not to have audit, nomination, and remuneration committees. However, they don't have audit. They don't have audit, nomination and remuneration committees. It's decided by directors. There is an internal audit team which reports to the Chief Finance Officer. Okay. Internal audit team typically will report to an independent non-executive directors from the audit committee. Here we don't have audit committee. However, because of that, they have put internal audit team to report to Chief Finance Officer, which is a problematic situation for internal audit independence. Next, key stakeholders. Right. Next, let's look at the key stakeholders of our organization. They have given a list of stakeholders. Key stakeholders are shareholders, the staff, including head office, factory staff, warehouse staff, and we also have our own retail outlets. Customers, third-party manufacturers, including X company, which is from the country of Scotland, who manufactures our shoes. Distribution partner, that is DT. Suppliers, bank, trade unions, and Lucland Shoe Association. So these are the key stakeholders. Let's have a quick note of this. Shareholders, staff, customers, third-party manufacturer, which is X company, distribution partner, which is DT, global transport, other suppliers, bank, trade union, Lucland Shoe Association. There are high levels of loyalty, commitment, and satisfaction among Dearn staff. Staff shows high level of loyalty, commitment, and satisfaction. Staff turnover is low. Low staff turnover. There's a very reasonable correlation between employee satisfaction and staff turnover. Yes, it is not uncommon for several generations of the same family to have worked for Dearn. Okay, we have seen that multiple generations of same family have worked in Dearn. The relationship between Dearn company and X company was very positive, but over the last 2 years was very positive, but in last 2 years there have been a growing number of issues with the quality of the output from factories. Last 2 years there were concerns on quality of products. Quality checks carried out in Lucland have highlighted poor production quality, and the number of returns from customers due to fault issues produced by X company has been slowly rising. Quality check shows poor production quality. Number of returns from customers have been rising. Delays in the dispatch of orders from X company have also been increasing. Also, there were delays in dispatch of orders from X company. Shipping between Totland and Dearn's warehouse in Lane is provided by DT, and service levels are excellent. Next is board and organizational structure. Now that has been given here. We have the executive chair, we have NED 1, 2, chief executive officer, and NED. Now there's a problem here. Normally the role of executive and non-executive directors should be separated. So under CEO we have chief finance officer, chief operations officer, commercial officer, product officer, information officer, chief HR officer. So with CEO there are 7 executive directors. If you look at non-executive directors, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. With executive chair we have 5. So 5 NEDs with chairperson. Now there are two problems here. First one is chair is having an executive role. Okay, so if you do that, we have 8 EDs and 4 NEDs. That's number 1. Normally the chairperson is a non-executive role, CEO is an executive role. So a chairperson having an executive role is one problem here. Second is normally companies will have single tier or 2-tier board. However, executive directors are headed by the CEO. The chairperson will head the board of directors. That also he as a non-executive director cannot get involved in executive decision making. So here executive chair itself is a concern here. So let's take note of those. So you can look at image for chart. We have some concerns. Chair is an executive role at Dearn. Number 2, executive directors are the majority than NEDs. CEO reports to chair. Okay, so these are the three concerns that I observed. That's observable there. So now let's look at what he is given in terms of their roles. Executive chair, leadership of the board, correct. Good governance, specific strategic initiatives. Chief Executive Officer, so in terms of the job role, it's fine. Specific strategic initiatives, that's a very broad term. So this is to be questioned. Chief Executive Officer, the executive team implementing the decisions of the board, effective implementation of strategy. Chief Finance Officer, financial strategy, internal and external, financial reporting, risk management. Chief Operating Officer, factory and warehouse in Lucland, relationship with outsourced partners. Chief Commercial Officer, retail outlets, e-commerce sales, business development, it's all about distribution and sales. Chief Products Officer, research and development, product design and development, marketing. So marketing is put under Chief Product Officer. Chief Information Officer, that's a problem here. It's not a problem, basically we would rather give it to a specialist. Chief Information Officer, head office systems, website and e-commerce platform and processes, communication links with outsourced partners. Chief Human Resource Officer, HR function covering head office, factory, warehouse and retail outlet staff recruitment, retention, training and development. Most of the directors, so here also we can have image for their roles. Most of the directors have worked for Dearn for over 20 years. Most directors worked for Dearn for over 20 years, so they are veterans. Keep in mind, if it's non-executive director, we cannot allow this because of independence issue. And relationships between them are positive. They take a risk-averse approach to decision making. Risk-averse. The board is risk-averse in decision making. Dearn has a functional top-down hierarchical structure with clear chains of command and formal lines of communication, responsibility and authority. Processes are well defined and the focus within the company is ensuring the day-to-day operations run efficiently and effectively. The organization is divided into departments. So when it comes to organization structure, we're going for a functional structure. Departments such as finance, purchasing, business development, human resources, IT, research and development, customer services are in Dearn's head office. The warehouse, factory and retail outlets form three further departments. The managers of each department comprise the senior management team and report to members of the board. Products. Dearn sells 4 types of shoes. Dearn sells 4 types of shoes. Formal, semi-formal, children's shoes have been manufactured for many years and casual shoes have been manufactured for just 10 years. All are made in Scotland by X company with the exception of formal shoes which are produced in Dearn's own factory in Lucland. Details are in table 3 below. Dearn produces 20 different styles of each type of shoe. Okay. 20 styles of each shoe. These styles are reviewed on an annual basis. This is reviewed annually and updated for changes in fashion. and updated as well for fashion changes such as color or height of heel. Those which are performing poorly are no longer manufactured. Designs with poor performance are no longer manufactured. When a style is removed, a new style replaces it. Dearn is unusual in the industry as it uses both handicrafting and mass production and offers all 4 types of shoes. Formal shoes detail. Dearn markets these shoes which have the MIL mark, made in Lucland mark, as handcrafted shoes as skilled labor replaces some of the processes which are carried out by machines. In a mass production manufacturing environment, they are made of leather and are the most expensive shoes sold by Dearn. The target market is 30 to 50 years old. Parrish is the market leader for this shoe type. It charges a higher price than Dearn. Right. MIL mark is there. And handcrafted shoes as skilled labor replaces some of the processes which are carried by machines in a mass production manufacturing environment. They are made of leather and are the most expensive shoes sold by Dearn. Sold the target market is 30 to 50 years old. Parrish is the market leader for this type of shoe. It charges a higher price than Dearn. Next is semi-formal shoes. These shoes are cheaper than Dearn's formal shoes. Priced cheaper than our formal shoes, as the soles are made of rubber rather than leather. Soles made of rubber than leather. The target market is over 55 years old. Dearn is the market leader for this type of shoe. Dearn is the market leader for this type of shoe. And has a market share just slightly above that of Bitterby. The other leading manufacturer of semi-formal shoes. Next is casual shoes. The soles of these shoes are made of rubber and the uppers of man-made materials. Sole made of sole is made up of rubber and man-made materials. So cheap. So cheap price than the semi-formal shoes. Target market 18 to 30. The demographic Dearn is struggling to engage with. Okay. Rigo is the market leader for this type of shoe. And commands strong brand loyalty among the target demographic. Children's shoes. These are mass-produced leather shoes for children. Dearn is the market leader for this age group. Dearn is market leader for this age group and has an excellent reputation in its retail outlets for correctly measuring and fitting children's shoes. Excellent reputation for fitting the size. Dearn's closest competitor is a small manufacturer called Tiptoe. Next is the manufacturing and sales process. Alright, now let's look at the manufacturing and sales process. 15 years ago, Dearn closed all of its manufacturing facilities in Lucland except for one factory in Lane. It continues to manufacture its formal shoes in this factory and carries out its research and development in Lucland too. So we had revisited most of this information. So at present, 15 years ago, Dearn closed all factories in Lucland except for one in Lane. The Lane factory manufactures formal shoes and carries out research and development. So this is the time when they also started to outsource manufacturing since 15 years ago. Most of Dearn's output is sold through its 75 retail outlets, which are in towns and cities throughout Lucland. So most local sales done through its own 75 retail outlets in Lucland. Dearn has an excellent reputation for high levels of customer service. Well known for high levels of customer service. within the retail outlets, and this is one of the main reasons for organization success. One main reason for success. The company has no retail outlets outside Lucland and does not export. No retail outlet outside Lucland and does not export. All of Dearn's products are also available via its online offering. Dearn's products also available online, which is available to customers in Lucland only for Lucland customers. Customers must collect any products purchased online from their local Dearn's retail outlet, as Dearn does not offer home delivery service, which is unusual in Lucland. When it comes to online sales, customers must collect products ordered from the local retail outlet. No delivery service offered. This is unusual for an online delivery. This has restricted sales volumes. So this has obviously restricted sales volumes, because very generally customers preferred convenience. Delivering it to their home is of high convenience. It has restricted sales volume online. Currently 12% of Dearn's total sales are online sales. Online sales currently contribute to 12% of Dearn's sales. So even with that restriction, 12% is pretty significant. The stages which Dearn shoes go through from design to being sold in retail outlets are illustrated in the diagram below. So image below for process details. So you can see Dearn's manufacturing sales process. There are three types of boxes. Blank box is all shoe types in Lucland. Dark ash is formal shoes. Light ash is all types except formal in X company's factory in Tottenham. So if you look at all shoe types, we do research and development, research and design from their local factory in Lucland, create lasts and product prototypes, and laboratory tests. Once it's done, most of the manufacturing is outsourced to X company. So to the right we can see manufacturing process. Machines used at all stages in X company. Once X company mass produces, it is shipped. Once X company mass produces, it is shipped to Lucland by DT, the delivery, and then at home Dearn carried out the quality check. On the other hand, some of the products we manufacture in the Lucland's factory, the factory where we do the research and design as well. So in that factory, we only manufacture formal shoes, that is handcrafted. And once it's handcrafted by our own factory, we do the quality check and then we send it to the Lucland warehouse. So our own formal shoes are handcrafted, as well as what is outsourced is mass produced shoes to X company. So once we receive both type of goods, we'll pick items for retail outlet orders and customers online orders and pack them for dispatch to retail outlets, distribute to retail outlets. Some of that we sell to retail customers, some will enable, some will be sold online where the customers have to collect from the retail outlets. The stages of the manufacturing process are set out in section 2 of this document. Information systems and use of technology. Our next part. Head office has off-the-shelf finance and human resources systems which have been in place for a number of years. Head office has off-the-shelf finance and HR system. What is off-the-shelf softwares? Off-the-shelf softwares refers to softwares that are readily available in the market. Not bespoke. Bespoke is customized. So here off-the-shelf is the commonly available software, non-customized. Off-the-shelf finance and HR systems which have been in place for a number of years. And it has been in use for many years. The human resource system is fit for the purpose of current operations, but the board is aware that investment will be needed soon in a new finance system. The HR system fits for purpose, but the finance system will soon need to change. So investment required. A new inventory system was recently introduced, but it does not provide the transparency Dearn needs over its supply chain. New inventory system recently introduced, but it does not provide the transparency needed. So obviously this is also off the shelf. Off the shelf are readily made with readily made platforms. Okay, it's not customized, so there's a high chance most of the situations what we need will not be exactly provided. So HR system is fine. Finance system, they have understood the need for an investment. A new inventory system which is currently recently introduced has also transparency issues in terms of information. Over supply chain. It shows visibility of inventory in retail outlets. Updated daily, but is only updated on a weekly basis for the rest of the supply chain. Okay, inventory in retail outlets updated daily, but for the rest updated weekly. That's the problem. Dearn has made significant investments in advanced manufacturing technology. Dearn has invested significantly in advanced manufacturing technology in its Lucland factory for those parts of the production process not carried out by skilled labor. The Lucland factory, yes. It has also invested in an automated picking process. Also invested in an automated picking process. in its warehouse which selects inventory for its retail outlets. Warehouse that selects goods for its retail outlets. A manual picking process is used for online orders. For online orders, picking process is manual. There is an e-commerce platform which has relatively limited functionality. E-commerce platform has limited functionality. This has impacted Dearn's ability to engage effectively with digital marketing. So, impacting Dearn's ability to engage in digital marketing. Effectively. There is also an intranet which includes information and resources for staff and an area for staff comments. You also have an intranet. What is intranet? A local internet, which includes information and resources for staff and an area for the staff to comment as well. Next is risks. The following risks are currently on Dearn's risk register. So that means we are maintaining a risk register which is a commended practice. So we can see supply chain disruption, potential economic downturn in the country of Lucland, Dearn's limited online offering, product recalls, yes, that's a major loss. Product quality issues, yes, we had some quality issues with X company the last 2 years. Environmental impact of the shoe industry. Okay. Environmental impact of shoe industry. And customers' reaction to it. Dearn's website extracts so normally two information that's typically two extracts observed is one is about website, one is about financial information. Let's see. Dearn's website extracts include understanding the vision, mission and values. Vision to become the first choice for shoes for the whole family. Yes, they target both children and adults. First choice for shoes. They want the brand to be one of the top of mind brands. Mission to provide our customers with well-made, reasonably priced shoes and an enjoyable customer experience. Values at Dearn, we are guided by respect for our history. Yes, we have a long history. Focus on quality of product and service and long-term commitment to our staff. Since they are focusing on quality, the quality issues of X company's products is a major problem to look into. Besides that, there are other vision, mission and values. Sounds okay. Let's look at it further. Right. So let's note this down. To become the first choice for shoes for the whole family. Mission to provide our customers with well-made, reasonably priced shoes and an enjoyable customer experience. Values: respect for our history, a focus on quality of product and services. Yes, and Dearn is also well known for its customer service. Good. So it's only the product of X company. Long-term commitment to our staff. Right. Finally, we have the financial and non-financial information. A selected summary given. So here we can look at this information. We can see from 2000 to 2020, 2024, as well as the industry average. So here's what happened in the last 5 years for Dearn, as well as the industry average. So market share, that is in terms of revenue, from 9.9% we have declined to 9.4%. There have been ups and downs, and we have clearly stated the last 2 years there were certain concerns of in terms of performance. So we can see the revenue, and then we have gross profit margin again from 26.7% to 26.2%. There has been a decline, but in comparison to industry average we are ahead. But at the end of the day there are 6 parties, right? The 5 dominant players, as well as the remaining majority of shares goes to small scale over 200 companies. So industry average itself cannot be taken as a proper indicator. However, if our performance is below industry average, that is very problematic. Customer satisfaction from 8.7 to it has declined to 7. Industry average is 7.5. Now this is problematic. Staff satisfaction from 8.1 it has increased to 8.2. There have been downs and ups, but still staff satisfaction is way ahead than industry average, which is a good sign. So we have concern with customer satisfaction. So here we have market indicators on market share in terms of revenue, gross profit margin, customer satisfaction, and staff satisfaction. Market share, we can see a decline over the 5-year period on average. We can especially see a decline in last 2 years. You can find the annual average degrowth. How do you find that? Okay, the new number, the newest market share is 9.4%. The oldest market share is 9.9%. Root n, root 4 minus 1. You get 1.29% degrowth. You can also do this. You can find the last 2 years degrowth. So the recent market share is 9.4%. 2 years before it's 10.2%. Root 2 power 1 divided by 2 minus 1. It's a minus 4%. So you can see a minus 4%. Minus 4% annual average degrowth over in the last 2 years. Previously I got a minus 1.29% annual average degrowth in the last 4 years. Now once we analyze using ratios, finding the average annual growth, now that gives a big information here. Revenue declined. Again you can do the same. The recent revenue is 352.5 million. The oldest is 347.5 million. Root 4 minus 1. So there is a 0.36% growth, annual growth over the last 4 years. But if you look at the last 2 years, 352.5 million divided by 362.9 million. Root 2 minus 1. Here we can see minus 1.44%. Annual average degrowth for the last 2 years. Gross profit margin declined from 26.7% to 26.2% in last 4 years. Similarly, 27% to 26.2% over the last 2 years. However, it's 26.2% is greater than industry average of 24.2%, possibly due to economies of scale, and because they also outsource, except for one factory, the rest is outsourced for cost savings. Those are possible reasons. Customer satisfaction low, so it's lower than industry average. So ours is 7 out of 10, lower than 7.5 out of 10. So this is something very significant, because see, our mission is also to provide customers well-made products, reasonably priced products, and to provide them enjoyable customer experience. Values focus on quality. Vision to be the first choice for shoes for the whole family, but now customer satisfaction is lower than the industry. That's something very significant. Staff satisfaction is 8.2 upon 10, which is more than industry average of 7.2. This is good. And staff satisfaction has been slightly growing over last 4 years, from 8.1 to 8.2. Okay, so with this comes the end of your pre-scene. Now we took quite a while to note down this information. We just have to, so this is your personal note on your pre-scene. So what we went through the whole pre-scene from scratch, reading from scratch. You noted down this information, which is considered important facts in the pre-scene. Understand the introduction, industrial related information in terms of production, types of shoes, market structures, sales channels used, and challenges in the industry, including innovations, industry body, industry standard. And finally, we move towards our company's information in terms of background, ownership, stakeholders, the organization structure concerns, products, manufacturing and sales process, information systems, risks, and extracts on the website, and the financial and non-financial information summary. So it's better if you can insert a screenshot of the images given in the pre-scene. So with that, you can completely ignore the pre-scene document because you have your summarized notes, which is a direct relation to the pre-scene. So once you do this, now you have noted this information by yourself. So based on this, we will go to our second stage, which is where we undertake a proper SWOT analysis. A SWOT is a very simple model, but it will be very relevant here because most of this information can be general information. So once you read this information in this phase 1, where you wrote it down every single information, you will be able to create a proper mind map, proper picture. Because in the exams, you will be playing the role of a consultant, role of an advisor, a senior manager, a strategic personnel. So when you are responding to the task, responding to a problem, providing a solution, you need to consider the bigger picture. That's why you need to have an understanding of the pre-scene, because pre-scene gives you company information, industry information, challenges, and other information on the big picture. So once you go through this once, twice, thrice, then we'll have to prepare the SWOT analysis based on your notes. Find the internal strengths and weakness of Dearn company, what the company is doing better than competitors and what we are lagging back. And based on the information, find the possible opportunities and threats of the external environment, opportunities that will provide a gain for Dearn, as well as threats that can cause harm, cause challenges to Dearn company. So let's meet up with our next recording for phase 2, where we will do a SWOT directly based on our information extraction in phase 1. Right? So I'll see you in our next stage.